Hey there. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Underdog Theology, the show that died and has come back again like someone else, but definitely not like I'm not comparing. There's no comparison. It's a thing that I just said because I thought of it. And sometimes you do that and it doesn't pan out like the Zoom, like the Zoom. What's up, everybody? I hope you can hear me. I'm seeing now. All right. I'm having some issues. Okay. This microphone was not sounding this crispy. Like I see the levels here. It was not doing that like 15 minutes ago. And I was like, oh my goodness. How, like it, because usually I have it on my shirt. And I'm like, oh man, I don't want to have to go get the whole setup and bring it up here. I'll go get the handheld and I'll just keep it really close to my mouth. But now I'm seeing like that the levels are actually okay. So I hope it sounds okay. Let me know that down in the chat. We are going to be talking about Christian nationalism and the dirty, nasty, gross secret behind it, which isn't actually a secret. We all know it. It was just something I could put in the title, okay? I don't know how to make titles. I would just go another stream. Like that's what I do. But really, I'm just here to hang out with people. But we do have a lot to talk about. I don't want to cut my legs out from underneath me. It's like we got stuff to discuss. First off, I forgot the joke that I was going to do. I was going to have the Zoom and it was just going to be my eyes and I was going to be like, prepare yourselves, and then be like, oh no, what happened to his beard? Halloween happened to my beard. I had a Halloween costume. Yes, I celebrate the Lord Satan's birthday. That's that. Yeah, that's what some people say, I guess. But I celebrate Halloween, and I went as a guy in a robe, and no one knew who I was, and I shaved off my beard and did a handlebar mustache for almost nothing. Literally, no one knew who I was. I'm pretty sure people thought like Big Lebowski, the dude, and they were wrong. That's not who I was, but I spent a lot of time and effort on that costume and no one got it. But all right, we're not here to talk about Halloween though. Let's start saying hi to some people. People are celebrating Christmas already, right? Like, come on. I'm not the only one. I'm not the only freak here, okay? I know. You guys like Christmas. You guys want to do the Christmas decorations. If you're in the States, I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do about Thanksgiving for y'all. I've tried. I looked into it. Nothing I can do. You guys have to wait until after Thanksgiving, I guess. But for me, don't have that problem. Thanksgiving was a month ago. So now we're just full on Christmas. So yeah, as soon as like November 1st comes around, it's Christmas in my house. Haven't put up the lights on the house yet though. I'm a little scared. It snowed yesterday. Sup Dean, what's up, Sasiams? We got Carrie Pie Lord. He's all about the banter tree. It's a banter tree, I guess. Yay for the Christmas tree, so not everyone's going to judge me. How is the Dean movie channel going? We're doing reactions. We're having fun with it. I'm having fun with it. It's not going super great, I'll be honest. But that's okay. Small things have small beginnings, and sometimes they never become anything other than the small things. And that's okay. It's a hobby. What's up, Pam? It is Christmas. We got Mrs. Creole here. I went to Prince Jackson Halloween Bash. I dressed like his dad, Michael, and got a shirt with Prince and I. What? Okay. We got mine up. The Christmas tree? Wow. I went to the mall last week. Christmas music, right? You got to do it. I wanted to tell you I preached yesterday for the first time. What? Mitchell, congratulations. Since last year. It's good to preach Christ as a particular Baptist. Can we get like a standing ovation for that? Like, where's my mouse? We could do that. We could figure it out. We could do this. And we have to unmute that. Mm-hmm. We could clap for Mitchell. I know some people will be like, aren't you saying it's a performance now? He was doing it for the Lord. We could still clap, you weird Baptists. But that's awesome, man. I'm really glad to hear that. That's encouraging. Having been there where you're preaching on the weekly basis and then all of a sudden you're not, it's a special feeling to be back in the pulpit. So congrats, man. Carol says nobody can replace you. Apparently not. Some people have tried. Oh, don't get me going. Don't get me going about Christian YouTube again. It's gotten even worse. I retired and it got worse. But we're going to talk about, Pam's like, let's keep this on track. Did Doug burn a Trojan horse for No Quarter November? I've lost touch with the Moscow Times. Well, here I am to remind you that they still exist. All right, let's go over here. Oh, you see my background. All right. Guys, I saw it in IMAX. It was so fun. Okay. Let's look at this thing. This is the Ocho. So there's a video that they did. No Quarter November has started, I guess. No one knows. Like, Pam, you're not alone. Nobody knows what's going on there in Moscow because nobody cares. But I thought it'd be fun to take a look at it. And I think, like, underneath it, if you're going to take it as a metaphor, there's a lot here that is actually, like, going directly against them. But let's see how they start this thing. I think we got all the sound going. Oh, let's go back a little bit because I don't want to get copyright strikes, but did you hear that? Like the beginning part, I didn't want to play the whole thing, but for the first 20 seconds or so, they're listening to Bastille's Pompeii when the walls kept tumbling around in the city that we love, right? Like, killer song, but why is it that the Christian nationalists are using this? Like, I thought they were folk. They liked folk music because Brian Sauvé is like, I could do folk and it's not great, but you know, he does it and he makes some money off of it. But I thought that's what they were about. And then all of a sudden, this is not the first time that I've seen Pompeii being used with Christian nationalist stuff. And I was like, what is the connection there? It's like, is it because Bastille's like a really white, like, band? Like, it made me feel bad about some of my choices, to be honest. It's like, I jam out in the car listening to that thing. It's just like, I'm an old white guy. Okay, I guess that's who we are. But we like that music apparently, and he's got an iPod, and he's cleaning up the church because that's how you know that somebody is a good pastor if they have all the jobs. I don't even believe that this is their building. I don't think it's their building. It might be their building. I don't know. I've never been there. But I would imagine it looks a little small. But he was cleaning and he was listening to Pompeii on his iPod and definitely doing the whole thing. And it definitely wasn't just for, you know, a photo shoot. But let's continue watching the Ocho.
Well, welcome to November.
Whip sound.
I realize over the last 8 years, I've set certain expectations for November. Yeah. Last year, NQN7 was our biggest year ever, as a matter of fact. But now that the Ocho is here, we are planning to bust all of the records. Traffic, views.
What is with this? What is with this? The Ocho is here. This feels like someone who is not Gen Z, but like slightly older, but knows a lot of Gen Z people was like, they'll get a kick out of this. Let's call it the Ocho instead of the 8th year. But
shares, likes, hates. Now, the most important word, however, is giveaways.
Okay. More whip sounds.
So for all of November, Canon Press is going to be discounting or giving away as many books as...
All right. Pay attention. He's wearing gloves and smoking a cigar.
Possibly can. For most of the year, as many of you know, I use a gentle and deft touch when I'm blogging, kind of like a chiropractor at a senior center or like a PCA minister trying to sneevel women into leadership.
Don't you do it, Doug. Don't you do it after plunging a toilet. Oh, you
But in November,
He did it. He put it in his mouth. Oh, no. No, Doug. Um, isn't that like the most like obvious thing for Christian nationalists? They're like, we're going to get our hands dirty. And like, this is what it takes to deal with culture. And then they put the dirt in their mouths. Like, you're smoking a cigar, bud, with gloves on. At least like take off the gloves and then start smoking. But nope, they got to get their hands dirty. They want you to know they're willing to go into the trenches, do the dirty jobs, and then put all the dirty stuff into them. Like they're just absorbing it. I think it's the most poetic thing. Like I definitely don't think that anyone at Cannon Press thought that through. They just thought it'd be funny for him to be smoking a cigar. But like the whole metaphor of it all, it just okay.
approach changes. Imagine a Viking in a warehouse with 2 axes, and the warehouse is full of pride pinatas. In short, I'm going to be choosing violence and mayhem, and I intend to enjoy myself.
And there was a lot of stuff on that plunger. I'm just saying. Are we doing scatological humor? Are the Baptists getting a little nervous? Maybe.
I know. At this point in the proceedings, I really ought to be burning something. I'm sorry to disappoint, but the year 2025 just got away from me. But maybe it's all for the best. You know, the winsome bros and the weepy hand-wringers, they're going to assume that I've matured, tamed even, you know?
Who's at the door? Who's at the door? I've seen weapons. Don't go out there.
Anyhow, stick around all month. The deals are going to get better and better as we go, and if you don't get all the rich content that you could, well, that's on you. Again.
All right, they do know like Pompeii and like the Trojan horse aren't connected, right? Do they know that? I don't know. Maybe.
It's working. Shh. He doesn't know we're in here.
Does this ever work for you? Of course.
The sound design is a little much. Like, who's clapping? Who like? Is there a bunch of kids just out in the field? I don't know.
Does.
Stop. No, get off.
This is where all the Christian nationalists watching this are like, "Yeah, he's gonna do it! He's gonna do it!"
Oh, shh.
Language. These are the things that they think they have to take down. Like I just, oh man, it would be sacrilegious, so I would never do it. But I would love, like, I wonder what Jesus thinks about this. Like, I really do, of like seeing like fartulence on a Trojan horse, and being like, this is what these guys are doing. They think that's what I'm about, like destroying this. Like it's what, and like the Hewlett Foundation. This is all green screen, by the way. You can tell because of the edging. That's not how smoke works.
Text Nancy. Hey babe, comma, you were right, period. They sent another one, comma, only without Taylor Swift, period. On my way now, period. Love ya, Pooh Bear.
And he loves his wife. Oh, Bert. What? I don't know. Okay. A lot of commas and periods, but, you know, that's what they did. And this is... So this is what I was talking about when I said like the whole idea about Christian nationalism might go further out there, but like the Moscow side of it, it's so niche and odd and like so many like inside jokes that like it just doesn't make sense to the outside world anymore. Like at least in those other ones, like he's burning a couch in in a field somewhere or sitting on a boat, he's at least talking about culture. And now it's just become like this cartoonish thing where they announce it and they're like, "Hey, it's coming, no quarter November." And like they get some people watching it, right? Like, because there's people like us who are like, "What is it going to do now?" But then there's also these people that are really excited about it, even if they hate his guts now. They're still excited about watching it. So 48,000 views. But here's what I mean when I say like they're so niche. Like you look at this, and I mean, this is what he's doing. We got 4,000 views 3 days ago. My reaction on my movie channel to The Long Walk has more views than that. And this is supposed to be someone who's a mover and a shaker. Like maybe a mover and a shaker online where, like people are talking about him and referencing him. But the movement itself at Moscow, I just don't see it growing to where like everyone has to deal with it. He's never going to be a household name. Like this idea of like, oh, everyone has to pay attention to what we're doing in November. It doesn't really seem like it. Yes, you have one here of 19,000 views, but that's because more of Mamdani than anything, and plays into something that we'll be talking about quite a bit later of this odd fear of Muslims. But I mean, you look at it, and right after 8,000 views on his next video, 6.8 thousand views. Like that's the pull of Moscow now. Like this isn't a movement that's really like continuing. Like I know everyone talks about it, like it's this incredible movement that's going forward, and Christian nationalism is everywhere. The ideas behind Christian nationalism are everywhere, but Doug Wilson isn't. Like his reach is diminishing. Now, there's good with that, but also I think probably a little bit of bad that he probably was reining some of these younger guys in, and they had to, kiss the ring of the Godfather in Moscow in order for them to have, any kind of platform. At least that's how it was 3 to 4 years ago. And now all those young guys no longer have to kiss the ring or really be accountable to anybody. So now they just go online and they say whatever they want. So like there's good with it that his reach isn't as, like I get it. He goes on and he's on like CNN or like, somebody's doing an interview of him. People do interviews of the weirdest people on the planet. They want to find some different story to be able to push, or some person that no one's heard of, and they're really the architect of what's going on. I don't think you guys need to be really all that scared about Moscow anymore. Scared of other things, sure. Talking about it, for sure. If there's something troubling that they bring to the table, absolutely. But this kind of cartoonish thing and childish, taking on a fartulence on a Trojan horse and burning it on their computers, like, who cares? Who cares about that? It doesn't make a difference. So I thought that was interesting. A lot of people were, wanting me to talk about, no quarter November. But honestly, they're not really dealing with anything. Like, even if you look at some of the videos that they're talking about, I mean, they're reacting to things that are in the news, trying to get, going with any kind of momentum of, SEO stuff, that's search engine optimization. But like the gene editing, Mamdani, but they're not really dealing with anything significant. And like no one's paying attention to what they would say anyways. So it's just interesting how that all plays out. Like you could do it and people go, okay, cool, we'll watch the video. But really what that is just basically, are you going to donate? Are you going to donate to our thing? We need donations. We're going to give you free ebooks. These ebooks are from 10 years ago. Um, and, it's super helpful 10 years ago to this group, they would think. But it's free now, so donate. And what's the point? Like, it's just, all right, guy made a video and spent probably at least like $5,000 altogether, probably, getting all that together for basically just an ad read of donate so you can get ebooks. But there really nothing's going on at Moscow. Pam said earlier, I haven't been paying attention to the Moscow crew. There's really no need to. Not a lot is going on. So, but they're still out there. They're still doing their thing. So watch what you say in November, because you'll get an anonymous army going at you, apparently. The most anticlimactic of climaxes, kind of. They could have gotten into football and touching grass. Instead, they're obsessed with the lamest stuff via the medium of their hatred. Seems like it. They lost the last election too. And that's kind of where everything has gone, because I'm noticing this trend where people are no longer faking it with politics, and now they're just being upfront about it and being like, yeah, like for a long time they tried to talk about like political theology or letting your theology impact your politics and be active and all of that. And now they're just like, no, we're just political now. Like they dropped like the idea of being like subtle about it and being like, oh no, we're really caring about our theology, and like trying to bring the two together. They just dropped that facade and they're just like, no, it's politics now. We're just politics. So a lot of these videos that come out from these guys, it doesn't really have anything to do with Jesus at all or the church. It's just conservatism and political ramblings from people who aren't qualified. Once again, like a lot of these guys are pastors of small churches with no political background whatsoever. But because they have a leather chair, or because someone they know knew how to make a logo, now they get to go and talk about it. But who am I? I'm a guy in my living room, talking in front of the Christmas tree. You're definitely not making any new friends today, said an anonymous dude. Okay. Doug Wilson has a lot of free time. I mean, he does. He really does. Between, stacking chairs and apparently plunging the toilets while he's putting a cigar repeatedly into his mouth. Just what are they doing? Has anyone listened to The Friendly Atheist? He is right on. I have no idea who that is. I think Wilson will be like Bill Gothard or David Bentley Hart. 95% of Christians can't name him, but influences everyone who come after him. I think that might be true. I think, some of these videos will live on, and while they might not be getting views today, will be viewed by, extremist pastors in the future, and they'll reference them. And it'll be like the guy that Doug Wilson loves. Who's that? The racist one. What's his name? Whatever. I think you guys probably know who I'm talking about. Civil War theologian, made a lot of bad calls, but he likes him. That's kind of what's going on. Why is Doug Wilson trying to look like Dean Lentini? I mean... so that's probably what I'm going to look like, actually. Like when I'm old, I'll probably be wearing the same thing, just not a no quarter November thing. And if I ever tried to light one of those things, I'd probably burn my hand off. His 15 minutes were up about 25 minutes ago. Moscow is like 5 miles from Pullman. Seems to me this is just going for college kids. 100%. Pullman, poor area. Like, I mean, you got Cougar fans, first off. Like, come on, man. Cougars? You really want to pull for the Cougars? Unless it was Thompson. I wasn't going to cheer for anyone from there. But, yeah, Huskies for life. That's not a cigar. It's a Philly blunt. I have no idea what that means, but okay. Dabney. Yes, that's who it was. It was Dabney. And he likes him, and some people like him because he liked him. Blah, 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 blah. It's all weird. All right. Let's start talking. Oh, but I will say, sign up and, get some discounts and stuff, because look what they got. Look what they got coming on. Oh, coming November 13th, Jared Longshore's new series on baptism. Okay. For anyone who doesn't know, this guy became Paedo Baptist like 5 minutes ago. Um, um, okay, it's weird. It's weird. But he left the SBC and Founders to go to Moscow. I think he still has a little bit of nuance to it, like that he's not a full on Presbyterian, but they allow Presbyterians and Baptists to do ministry together there. But yeah, I don't think I want the guy who just joined the team to be teaching like the series on the team. Like, don't you guys have better? Like, you guys have been like, they want to talk about how it's like a, you know, this long game kind of thinking. Like you're planning ahead, five steps ahead. Wouldn't you think that he has like some better people to be doing a series than Jared Longshore, who was a Creedal Baptist like 5 minutes ago? And by 5 minutes ago, I mean like a year ago. But still, a year ago? Like it's so insane to me how they view some people can just switch such huge political or theological positions and then just be like, and now they're teachers and they get to say whatever they want now because they're on our team. And it's like, if you're in that congregation, you probably know more about that topic than the guy who's there. Like, I mean, come on. But, that's only if they've been paying attention in Sunday school. Um, but yeah. Doug put his hat on the same way you did. Uh oh. Uh oh. Uh oh. Well, you live long enough to see yourself become the villain, right? Maybe that's what will happen. We don't know. Also, let's start talking about some other stuff. We got a lot. I got a lot to discuss tonight. I got like 8 different topics. We're going to have to rush through some things. All right, let's start talking about something that I saw. All right. Virgil Walker, faithful viewer, angry commenter, Virgil L. Walker of G3 fame, who is now not at G3, who is at, what is that? We're going to talk about him in a little bit. RBC, Redeemer Bible Church in Gilbert, Arizona. He's now a pastor there and has been doing his blog for a little bit, trying to make himself, create a platform for himself through his writing. So he's got this blog going on Substack, and this is what he posted. I'm not going to read it because it's just dumb and gross. But Nick Fuentes, he is trying to point out that Nick Fuentes has a lot of good to say. Nick Fuentes is a wolf, a young wolf, a little snotty-nosed kid who started talking into a camera, pretending that he had any, I don't know, insights into pretty much anything. He hadn't experienced life yet, doesn't know anything about politics other than listening to Rush Limbaugh probably on repeat as a kid. But he started his little podcast, and that blew up because he said a lot of insane things and streamed on the right platforms and got promoted because he's a hateful individual. He says a lot of awful things about women, claims to be a Christian. Doesn't make any sense, some of the things that he says. Like, guys, I'm not a prude about, cussing and being like, oh, if they cuss, they're not a Christian. But this guy curses like a sailor, talks about women like an old sailor, like maybe a Viking sailor. I don't know. But he looks like, one of the kids from Freaks and Geeks, which, I'm not here to like talk about someone's looks. It's just that he's a kid. He's a little kid. And he's just out there being as gross as possible online. And here comes Virgil Walker to use that. Now, I don't know if he watches him. I'm not going to speculate there about like, hey, maybe he likes him. What I do know is that Virgil Walker watches a lot of things. I've talked about that a bunch because guys who, if you've been around the channel, because he's hopped into the chat here, he's commented, he's watched a lot of my content. And if you're watching a lot of my content from this world, that just tells me that you watch all the content. Like, it's not because I'm special. It's because you're addicted to online media. And so I don't know, maybe he does watch Nick Fuentes. I don't know, but he was trying to use it to get views because, guys, here's the trick. You put people in the title, you get more clicks. That's how it works. So like if we're talking about a specific person and it's a specific stream about that person, I will put the name of that person in the title, usually right off the bat, because that's what helps to get people to click on it. That's what sends the little light bulbs to the algorithm of, oh, we should probably send this out to some people. So that's what he was trying to do. And a lot of people weren't having it, including Scott Aniol, the now president of G3. It's unfortunate I have to state this, but because I'm being asked, G3 Ministries does not endorse any positive statements about Nick Fuentes whatsoever. We mark and avoid him. And then in a bunch of other tweets, he went through a list of all the things that he disagrees. It's actually pretty good. Here's what I'm finding out. All the fears that we had with G3, I think I said this in the last stream, it wasn't Josh Bice. It was strictly Virgil Walker. Virgil Walker was the connection at G3 between Moscow, between the Christian nationalists, between now we're seeing Joel Webbin and the Ogden guys. He was the connection between all of those people. He was the vice president of G3, and he had those relationships going, and he was speaking at those conferences with those people. And now we're seeing a clear distinction being made now. Scott Aniol's like, that's not what we're about. I can't say, that's what we've never been about, that kind of stuff. But right now, under his leadership, it seems to be much more of a fundamentalist organization. And I don't say that to be like, fundamentalism bad. I think that's a very good thing. That's an upgrade from where it was at with G3. So I think Scott is on the right track here with who he's choosing to associate with and platform and who he's choosing to not. And Virgil, it seems like this guy is just willing to talk up whoever, to at least in the conservative world, of course, never in the liberal world, not in the progressive Christian world, but in the conservative world, whether it's theology or politics, he's willing to elevate these people so that he could get more clicks on his blog and elevate his blog. And that's why he did that. Now, I will say it is interesting to me that if you go here, like he defended that, by the way. He defended it to a lot of different people of why he chose to do that. And then without making any statement, it's gone. It's gone. If you look, that was on October 30th. And if we go here to see all, you go down, go into October 29th. Yes, there's a little bit, and you can see Nick Fuentes right there. But then what happened? It's gone, because this is how the internet works now. If something, you try to make a statement, and if that statement doesn't work, you just backpedal and delete it. That's courage. Like, should he have deleted it? Yeah, because it was dumb, but you should put out a statement about how you were wrong, not just, I probably shouldn't have that on my blog anymore, and delete the stuff. And then I think he even went back and deleted some tweets referencing it and stuff. But basically everyone was like, that ain't cool. And a lot of his buddies did. And without saying anything, without saying I was wrong, without, apologizing to his growing audience, he is growing. It's just gone. And then just a couple days later, a week later, here he is to talk about how, who's wrong? All the people who rant. They just rant about stuff. Like they're just all about jumping on people, the rush to react. This is very similar to when I said in my comments that I was going to talk about something that he said. And then he put out a lot like this discernment, all these discernment ministries and whatever. And it's just like, no, I'm just a guy. I'm not a discernment ministry. I'm just a dude giving my opinion. But, whatever. But he just goes in and basically is like, hey, we need to talk to people. We need to trust people. And we need to stop reacting so quickly and going so harshly at people. It's just interesting how that happens. Like someone writes something and everyone's like, that is definitely wrong. And you are wrong for saying that. And then he's just like a week later after deleting the post, actually everyone is wrong for judging me so meanly. It's just, why do they do this? But that is the go-to route for most of these guys. They will post something and then they'll delete it without apology. Or sometimes they'll just leave atrocities up. This is getting out of hand. This whole thing, I talked about in the last stream. There is such a fear of Muslims right now, and they'll post whatever, right? They'll post whatever and be like, "Hey, let's put a blanket statement on all these people." You know who didn't do that? President Bush. President Bush didn't do that. Most people didn't do that at the time, but now a lot of these guys want to jump into statements like that about Muslims. Everyone's scared that Mamdani won, and not for political reasons. They'll say, "Oh, socialism is a problem," and then they'll be like, "How is his version of socialism different than like any major city in dealing with some of like the issues that they have about, homelessness and wages coming with jobs and trying to help parents out and bus fares and stuff like that. It's not really any different. There are other things to be concerned about. I'm not saying he's a good guy, but most of the time it's just because he's a Muslim, because he looks different. And now all these people are posting all kinds of things. I was going to bring this up earlier, but there's also stuff like this. I am a religious supremacist. Christianity is the only true religion. All other paths lead to hell, with a crusader who I'm assuming has just gotten done pillaging. That doesn't really even look like war to me. There's just like there's things on fire. There's not a lot to be on fire in a war zone. It's more of like we took over a city and destroyed it. If you know the Crusades, you know that happened a lot. But these guys don't know anything because most of them don't have degrees like Dale. He doesn't have that. So maybe he hasn't learned that quite yet. But really what's going on here? It's racism under the very thin disguise of religion. Like these people don't want, like, why these people, I'm talking about these like religious leaders and Christian nationalist movements, they don't want Muslims to be in charge of anything, even though they're Americans. Even though, like, you listen to these people, and if you know, again, I'm not here to defend Mamdani's political views, but just as a person, his mom is a Hindu. Like, he wasn't raised in like the most like devout Muslim household. It's probably why he doesn't sound like most Muslims that are pushing different ideas about Sharia law and all that Christians are so scared of. But like, it's just, no, if they believe in America and they're an American citizen, they're allowed to run for office, regardless of their religious perspective. And for anyone who's like, that sounds a little extreme, Dean, would you say the same thing about Mitt Romney? Mitt Romney is a Mormon. I don't know if you know this, but Mormons, when they first got started, they did a lot of fighting. They pillaged. They did. How do you think they got rich? It wasn't just like they made like some incredible business decisions early on. They stole a lot. They lied because Joseph Smith was a liar. And they went off into their own little forts. They literally had Mormon forts where they wouldn't allow other people in and they would attack other people from their Mormon forts. All right. And they definitely have a goal. They have a goal of taking over the whole world. Mormons do. Their social media influencers are all over the place. You want to talk about conspiracy theorists and trying to change America? Look at the Mormons. The Mormons have people that your kids watch on YouTube. What is his name? Mark Roble, the NASA guy, who is like, oh, let me be creative about engineering and teach kids engineering. You know what he also teaches? Mormonism. these people are all over the place. These trad wives, they're trying to hop into that, and it's like, okay, well, how many trad wives are in that family? You know, it's just they're all over the place. They're doing stuff, and everyone's fine with it. Like they're fine with Mitt Romney, or at least they said they were for a little bit. Now, maybe in hindsight, they may be like, actually, no. And I was always a little speculative of his Mormonism. But the Mormons have a stated goal of taking over the world. Every major religion does. And some of those religions are older, some of those religions are newer, but also some of those religions are whiter and some of those religions aren't. And people act differently because of those religions. There's really if you're talking about like what the stated goal of a religion is, and the stated goal of what America is supposed to be, like there's really no difference between a Mormon and a Muslim as far as what they're going to try to accomplish for their religion. So like I go, why are you okay with Mitt Romney, but you're not okay with, at least, and again, this is not the politics of it. This is the religious angle of it. Mamdani. It's like, I think there's more at play, even subconsciously, that people wouldn't want to care. They would never admit it to themselves, but they really need to consider it. Search your heart and see if that is something that's going on. Because if you're that fearful of a Muslim being a mayor in New York versus a Mormon being the president of the United States, like that I think you're a little off on what you're thinking through. Now, if it was someone who was like, I want to enact Sharia law, and there are those people out there, they're wackadoos, and everybody knows it. And most Muslim Americans who have been here for a little bit longer than, some of these other guys who are newer, they're like, yeah, they are the wackadoos. So I'm just saying, like, think through it. But these guys now, like, that has become a major talking point. All of a sudden, no one cared about it 5 years ago, other than being like, hey, around the world, they do a lot of things that they, would never pass here. But they might want to do that here someday. They might be talking about that, but no one was really talking about it the way that they are now. But now everyone is scared. And so, like, it's just another thing of using fear tactics to try to push something, because no one is talking, with the Democrats now. No one's talking about the things that they used to talk about 5 years ago. Now it's just like, who's buddy with the Muslims? And that's a weird turn that's happened, but it is something that's going on. Let's talk about something else. This one's a little hard. I have talked about them before, so I feel like I probably should discuss it. And some of you guys might not know what's going on, and so you might not care. But some people might. All right. This was said the other day. All right. This is from Justin Purdue, who is the co-host, or at least was the co-host, of Theocast. Theocast is a reformed podcast, teaching people to rest in Christ. That's like their main thing. John Moffat and Justin Purdue have been doing it for a while. Other guys have been a part of it at different times. John's been doing it for a very long time. And they just had a conference, and everyone was smiles and everything seemed fine. They did a thing with Chad Bird. A lot of videos went out from that. And then the other day, Justin just dropped this on Twitter. And I'm sure a lot of you have probably seen that if you're in that world. So it says, I love John Moffat. I'm deeply thankful for his friendship. I don't have my glasses on and it is small up there. So forgive me. Here's my old man moment. Okay. For the ministry we have done together, it has been a privilege to stand for the sufficiency of Scripture and the clarity of the gospel on Theocast for the last 6+ years. In 2024, John began producing content on a podcast called Kingdoms Unveiled, which eventually developed into a ministry called Reformed Fringe. In addition, John began writing articles on the spiritual realm. I know John has been well-intentioned in all of these endeavors. I agree on the importance of raising awareness about spiritual warfare, the tactics of the evil one, and the activity of holy and unholy angels amongst confessional Baptists, or Freudian slip, confessional Protestants in our generation. Our forebears preached and wrote of these things. However, I have significant concerns with the content John has produced. From my perspective, much of the subject matter is tertiary and speculative in nature, yet John elevated these doctrines to a place of primacy and made them a major thrust of his public ministry. At best, this is unwise and distracting, which is evident because of the material, coupled with its volume and emphasis, has sparked much controversy and division amongst like-minded believers. It is my personal conviction that some of the doctrines and ideas as articulated on these platforms contradict and or compromise historical, creedal, and confessional definitions of Christology and the doctrine of God, along with many others. I have repeatedly brought these concerns to John over the course of many months. John does not agree with the concerns as expressed. In light of this disagreement and in accord with my own conscience, I have resigned from my role as a co-host of Theocast and from the board of directors. And then the board of directors for Grace Reform Network, I think is what they started. They all basically copied and pasted this. John's a friend. I'll say that first off. When I first saw this, I was late to it because, I'm not on Twitter, or at least not paying attention on Twitter for that stuff very much anymore. So I was late to it, and I just texted him that I love him and I'm praying for him. And told him I have no idea what's going on because I don't. Since then, I've kind of gone into it and tried to find out, like, what are these things? So this is huge for Justin to say this and for this whole network to be saying this. And John has resigned. He's resigned from the network, and this has become a huge thing. And it's like the thing that's probably going to define John for a while. So these are big accusations. All right. It is my personal conviction that some of the doctrines and ideas as articulated on these platforms contradict and or compromise historical, creedal, and confessional definitions of, here's the big thing, Christology and the doctrine of God. This is really, like, that is a huge statement, even though it is incredibly vague. If you're going to come at someone and say, this is something that has happened to this person, this is something that this person has been teaching, and it is fraudulent, it is heretical, not just, concerned, but heretical, you need to come with, he said this is what the creed says. He said this is what the creed says. He says this, of course, this is what Scripture says. That's what you should do. We don't like what he's teaching and we think it's heretical, but we're not going to tell you about it at all. Which is not helpful if there is heresy. Now I'm obviously biased. I will say that I am biased toward John. I like John quite a bit. I would consider him a personal friend. And not that we talk all the time. I don't want to give you the wrong idea. It's not like we chat all the time. But I have his phone number and he has mine. Even though he's given it away. John, why do you do that? Okay. But I am biased, but I look at this and, like, I think about it with Doug Wilson. Doug Wilson is a heretic And I can tell you exactly why he's a heretic. All right. He's a heretic because he counts belief as a work. He's taking grace out of it. That's what federal vision is all about. All right. That's why a lot of people, not just me, have said that is heretical. Very specific thing. I've looked and I do not know. All right. Now, again, I'm not saying I agree with John. I don't know all of the content that John has made. I've never listened to this podcast. I've never looked up this stuff. But here's something that he did. A couple months ago, people were talking about this, and I remember people discussing it. And this is a statement that he put out. It's on his website, johnmoffat.com. You can go and look it up for yourself. And it's a big old huge thing where he affirms a bunch of the creeds. Like you go up here, affirmation, 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 main things. Here I am. I believe all these things like anybody in this world does. But then you come down here, and this is where things begin to be problematic. And I will say, I would definitely disagree with John. But look at, like, this is the wording that he put out. This is what we can look at and be like, all right, here's the crux of the matter for him. Thus, my conviction is the historic Orthodox confession: Jesus is God, the Father is God, the Spirit is God, and yet there is only one God. Good so far. Likewise, Yahweh is the divine name that can be applied to the Father, the Son, and the Spirit, while there is only one Yahweh. That's where people have the issues. The name may be applied to more than one person, but never to more than one God. So you could go and you could read all of this where he goes into detail about what he thinks. Again, this is not the whole of the matter. I haven't, oh, there it is again, Back to the Future. I haven't gone in there and listened to all of his podcasts about it. But taking that statement, in my view, it is very problematic. I would have issues with that. But I have to go with what John says for himself. He says that he does believe that there are three co-eternal persons in one God. What he's saying is that this name for God that most would describe that only refers to God the Father, Yahweh. He says that is another name, like basically Elohim kind of thing, for the summation of the three persons. I don't agree with that. I know why he says it because of what he's written here. I don't know if that's heresy, to be honest. Like this, like a lot of people are already going like, I knew there was something with it. You know, I read some of the comments. I knew there was something. It was so troubling, some of these things. But I look at what he affirms, what he denies. I think that there is a mistake on the naming, but he is still attributing, actions to the individual persons within the Trinity. He is saying it's not the Father who died on the cross. It is the Son who died on the cross. The Father sent him. He would affirm all those things still. I don't know why he chose for it to be such a big issue. Again, I haven't talked with John about these things yet. I just told him I was praying for him, which I am. But people will be curious because I have promoted their stuff before. And some of the people who commented are people that I know I pushed in their direction. So I feel like I should say where I land on this right now. Having only read his statements, having only that to really go off of, I don't even know where to look for all of this Reformed fringe stuff and like all those kinds of things. But that's where I would stand, is to say I think it's problematic. I wouldn't call it heresy yet because I haven't heard anything that is like here's where he's at, and he attributes something that's to the Son to the Father, or someone is less equal than one of the people of the Trinity, something like that, which would be obvious heresy. But this is a complicated issue. All right, uh, like it is even hard to talk about. Like it's just the Trinity. When you start getting into it, you have to believe it. You have to believe it. You just have to trust. You have to have faith. It's why it's called faith. It's because it is just this is who you're supposed to believe in. He is the triune God, and there obviously is a bunch of scripture to talk about and be like, this is why we believe it. But as far as articulating it in human terms, you can't really do it. You just got to believe it because that's what the Bible says. And for me, it's simple as that. And I could say that and be okay with it. Some people want to dive into the weeds a little bit more, but that's when you get into some really troubling things. I would even point out, for people who are talking about John, calling him a heretic, which means that he's bound for hell. That's a big statement. I would point out that there are people who you read, that you follow on Twitter, who believe, or at least have said things that are very much the eternal subordination of the Son, and you don't care. Like, or at least some people don't care about that. Owen Strachan, who we'll talk about in a minute, one of those guys who has very much been found to believe in the eternal subordination of the Son, with some nuances that make it to on the verge of whether you could say really it's heretical or not. But he's said some very troubling things about the Trinity, and people are okay with him. And yet John here is being thrown out to pasture because of this Yahweh thing. And I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it. I don't know if it's the main thing that we need to talk about right now, if it's worth making the statement and being like, he's so problematic, everyone needs to know, and he needs to be thrown out of all these. Like, that's what this statement is meant to say. I don't know Justin. I've never talked with Justin, but a statement like this, especially after you just had a conference where everyone was sitting at a table and like laughing and giggling and, doing all the content, making all the videos, getting all the views and stuff. And then to throw out a statement like this and just basically roast the dude without giving any firm, here's what he said, here's what scripture says, here's what he said, here's what the Apostles' Creed says, here's what he said, here's what the 1689 says, like something like that. Like that, it just is, I'm done with this, and I want everyone to know that. And I don't think he should be allowed in public ministry. That's my only thought with something like this, where it's so vague, but it's so public, and you're just trying to roast a dude. Odd. This is one of those moments where I go, Baptists, we could be so freaking weird about our relationships, and just like, we can throw someone out so easily, even if you believe these things, like without giving like a, here's exactly why, not just he is, how did he put it? At best it's unwise and distracting. And what did he put? Something about, I don't know, but he's just not saying anything with it other than this is all bad. And everyone immediately goes, you're right, it's all bad. And it's just, what is bad? Say it. If it is something, say it. And again, I could love someone all day and believe they're a heretic, like I can say like, oh, I really care about this person as a person, but I think they're bound for hell. Or I think that they're, a problematic teacher and you shouldn't listen to them, even though they're my friend. Because you can be friends with a heretic. Doesn't mean you go like, oh, let's talk about Christian things. I'll have you on my podcast. Or like, you want them come to church and get saved maybe. But it's it's so odd how we're so willing to throw people out. Um, and this is one of those moments that's just really sad to me, where you see someone who's John has done a lot of good for the reform world. That video on Doug Wilson, um, I could have made 100 videos about it and no one would care. But John risked a lot to make that Doug Wilson video. And I think it's been one of the main helps from that group. And on top of all that, you probably listen to him. If you're if you're still watching at this point of me talking about this, you probably care about this podcast. Think about how you've been helped. I don't think we should just throw that out. I'm not saying we ignore problems. It's not what I'm saying. So don't anyone try to put that in my mouth. But I'm saying we should be a little bit hesitant to go to extremes if someone has been so helpful for us. I think that's fair to say. It doesn't mean that we ignore the bad because of the good that they've been. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that we should be hesitant to just be like, oh, it is the worst possible scenario. And for this issue, I don't know. I think it's bad hermeneutics, in my opinion. But I understand how he got to that point, because there is the power from Yahweh. It feels like it's two different things. I think that's just writing, man. I would just attribute that to just that's the way Moses chose to write that thing. I don't know if we should be diving so deep and making, this huge mountain of theology off of from and to in the Old Testament when Moses was out in the wilderness writing this stuff. But it's not to say it's not inspired. I'm just saying there's a style of writing that God used with these people. And I don't know if we can use one preposition to change things, but that's my opinion. But I know some of you would care that I talk about it and reference it, since I've talked about these people. But that's where I stand on that. Let's hop into the chat here and see what everyone is talking about with all the stuff. And then we got some more. We got some more to talk about. Is everyone still mad at me about the Mormon thing? Maybe. Tax Collector, what's up, dude? Lots to catch up on. Sorry about the Mariners. How dare you bring that up? My Dodgers got the Jays back for you. Sad about the end of Theocast and Joshua Hames defending slavery in the year of our Lord 2025. Yeah, Joshua Hames has gone off the deep end. I thought maybe we would talk about a couple things, and I was like, I don't care. And I don't think most people, he's not a big name yet that anyone's really paying attention to. So sorry. Both Mamdi and Doug Wilson are bad. That's a fair thing to say. I disagree. My Jewish family members have a right to be concerned, and he's a commie. I don't know if he's a communist. I would say you could be concerned. I wouldn't say that's why he can't be in office. I think you have a right to be concerned and investigate. But to come out to a conclusion because someone, it's where you're from, right? That's all it is. Because their goals are not any different than the Mormons. Although we should be more focused on giving Muslims the gospel. 100%, Crusader. I could agree with you on that. No to Mormons and Muslims. As far as religions go, yes. But you can still love those people. You can still treat those people as equals in a society, in a democratic society, right? You can still treat them as equal. It's about ideas. Ideas win the day. It's not about your religion versus my religion, or your background versus my background, or your color of skin versus my color of skin, which has seemed to be that's what people care about today. But it's about ideas. It's about who has the better idea, who can argue the better idea and convince other people of their idea. But now there's all this stuff about how America has never been a proposition, it's a place. That's not what the Constitution says. It's not. The Bill of Rights, have you read it? No, it's actually about a proposition. It's a dream. Martin Luther King was right. I know everyone hates him, but he was right. It's a dream. It's a dream where we could live together and be equal. And your opinion is just as valid as my opinion. And it's about who believes those opinions at the end of the day and the majority. And right now, that doesn't really seem to be the case. Yes, there is. And you know what's great about that? Evangelism. It's pretty easy as far as like where to go. Mormons are currently freaked out because the church is trying to become more explicitly Christian. They're renovating Temple Square in SLC, Salt Lake City, and one of the new statues has a cross. Okay. Yeah. I'm not sure if people that franchise must be Mormon, but I found the info on Google. That people that franchise. That was probably something else that you said earlier, maybe. I know the people who are in the network of Justin's and John's network. It's been hard for everyone involved. I'm sure it has. Things like that are difficult. And I know it's not a sudden thing, but the statement seems rushed. Because if it wasn't, you would have proof. You would say this, this, and this, and they didn't do that. Dean, in a very technical sense, isn't all Reformed theology predicated on the idea that belief is a work unless God is making you believe? No, belief is not a work. That is like the main thing. It's by grace and is not a work lest any man should boast. It is God's working in us, not us. Or maybe that's what you meant by that, work unless God. All right. Isn't Yahweh just another way of saying God? I would say it's a covenantal name of the Father. And that has been the stated position for, 2,000 years of Christianity. I don't know why John wanted to dive into this deeper. And I know that there are other people who have done that too. And maybe he's influenced by certain people that I've never even heard of. That's what I would say. I think it's a confusion over Elohim and how that's referenced to the Trinity, all persons of the Trinity, but also, these demonic figures like these gods of the Philistines and stuff like that. That's also there. But yeah, it's weird and it's nuanced and to be honest, I don't understand everything with it. I would have to probably listen to hours and hours and hours of John to find out what is going on. But if you're going to come out and say someone is a heretic, then you need to do that. Like it's on you to do the research and say, here is why I found this statement, this paragraph I've lifted from the podcast. This is what he says here. And timestamp it and everything. John is not the problem. It's Doug Van Horn. I don't know who that is. Heiser said that Old Testament describes two Yahweh figures. Yes, there's like that. What is it? Like the two powers of heaven kind of thing. I don't know. I'm going to stick with Bunyan. Going to focus on that stuff. Basically, the divine council theory has multiple Yahwehs, but God is the one top dog Yahweh in the council. That is problematic for sure. I'm late here, but isn't the Ocho the ESPN channel that carried dodgeball? Yep. And for some reason, they decided let's have him, plunge some toilets on the Ocho. It's not dodgeball. They should have done dodgeball. That would be a good reference. There's been people in history who have subscribed to confessions but had dangerous heretical views. 100%. I'm not saying because someone affirms something. I have to see the rejection and I have to see it clearly. Doug Wilson affirms Westminster. He affirms it, right? And for a lot of people, that's enough. But I can see clear denials of what he's saying and what he's teaching. For John, I haven't seen that. Now, again, I haven't dove into all of the podcasts and whatever. Is it audio? Is it articles? I'm not sure. I haven't even found it, to be honest. I Googled it and I'm like, I don't even know where this is. I don't know if it's behind a paywall of some kind or what. But I think we should be hesitant. That's just the way I'm going to keep on saying it. We should be hesitant to throw out an entire ministry that has been so helpful over something that is not clear yet, at least to me. Now, if it's clear to you, you've done the research, you've listened to all the things, and you've been like, "Hey, here's what he said." Let me know. Let me know. I would love to know that. Save me the effort and time. But I'm looking at this and I'm going, this is kind of weird to me. This is weird. I also think it's partly a weird thing of just, you just did a conference. You have all the stuff with Chad Bird, and then just like 2 days later, you put the statement out. That's weird. I don't know what that's about. I caught the live. Hi, Dean and Underdogs. Might hop off just because I don't like hearing about this guy for real, but I'm here for now. Okay. I don't know which guy. Probably me. It's probably me. Finally, a Trinity debate instead of politics, right? At least we're talking about theology. The statement is vague, but there's been things done behind closed doors. All right. You're asking, Mitchell, I know, like, you're probably aware of more things, like what you're saying. You know some of these people. I don't know what's been done. Me and John haven't talked about it. I just know the guy. And I don't trust people. I'll put it like that. I don't trust people. If you're going to put out a statement, you're going to say someone's a heretic, which is what that is. If you're denying creeds, how do they put it? How do they, let's bring it back up. I don't want to put words in their mouth. But here, when they said they contradict and or compromise historical creedal and confessional definitions of Christology and the doctrine of God, those are central issues. If you are doing that, you're a heretic. So if you're going to say that, I don't want to hear about backdoor stuff. I don't want to hear about like, they had this meeting at Panera, and that's still a thing in the States, right? Panera's still around. But they had this meeting, and now like everything is made aware. I need to know what it is. You should say it. If you ask people at church to describe the Trinity, you will think they are all heretics. Exactly. It is a very hard topic to talk about. And you get someone talking about it for a long period of time, like, you just wait. They're going to mess up. They're going to mess up. That's why you save this stuff for like Bruce Ware. Like, save it for the geniuses. And like for me, I'll just go like, hey, three people in one. That's what I believe, because the Bible does teach that. Now, how does it work? You just got to trust. And that's okay. I believe in a God who died and rose again. How do you make that make sense? You can't. You just believe it. How do you believe in a God that is transcendent, that literally does not have a beginning? You can't explain that. You believe it because the Bible says it. And that's okay. I can believe things without being able to articulate every reason why it is valid. But that's just me. And probably a bunch of other people, because we don't know. I've been blessed immensely by Theocast, and John's journey in particular. Saddened to hear this, right? It is sad to hear. The Theocast webpage is sad. An empty desk with a mic and no one sitting there. What? Is that real? Did they put up like a new... What is... All right, let's look at this. I haven't gone to their website. Thanks for bringing it up. So yeah, you're right. It's I don't know if that's always been the case, if they just want to show the background, or if they're just saying like we're done with it. I'm assuming that this is a picture. It's not loading, but I'm assuming that's like the letter. Yeah. Over the past several months, he and I had talked through some theological differences. While I do not share the concerns and did not believe they required separation, Justin feels it is best for him to pursue ministry more aligned with his convictions. I respect his decision and desire to follow his conscience before the Lord. I am grateful for the years of ministry we shared and continue to consider Justin a brother in Christ. I pray the Lord blesses him in the next chapter of his work. The mission of Theocast remains the same, helping weary Christians find rest in the finished work of Jesus Christ. Thank you for standing with me as we continue to proclaim the sufficiency of Christ for all of life. Doesn't sound like John's done with Theocast, but I don't know. It's a sad thing when stuff like this happens. Sometimes it might be necessary for these things to happen, and sometimes it might not. One Girl Army. What? You're back? I missed the show? Is that a Christmas tree in the background? No. Why do you ask that? That's such a weird, specific thing to ask. Yeah, I am back for a limited time, as far as like once a month kind of deal. That's kind of what I'm doing. Oh wait, are we not talking about Doug Wilson? Wait, end of Theocast. Oh man, I got to catch the replay. Yeah, there's a lot going on. Dean, in case I forget, please say hi to Heather. Missed the days she would pop onto the channel. Hope she's doing well. She is at work right now. She is doing well. Yeah, she's still alive. She still loves me. I don't know why. Yeah, I could give you proof of life if you want it. We could. I'll show you this. This is what I'll do. I can prove it. I can prove it. She still loves me, guys. I know she doesn't hop on the channel, but wait, I can't prove it. She took that picture. Oh wait, yeah, I can. This is us when we went to see Back to the Future. I didn't Photoshop that. Okay. I know that's not what you were saying, but I thought it'd be funny anyways. Could you explain what you think the problem with John's theology on that point is? I think I just did. That. But unfortunate, especially since Theocast guys launched an affiliation of churches. I wonder what will happen there. It will continue. Those churches will still exist. I'm sure someone else will just take the reins of it as far as, being the go-to person for these people when they're talking about joining and whatnot. John's other YouTube is Reformed French. Okay, well, apparently I got some videos to watch. Yippee skippy. Troubling things. If Yahweh is just another word for God, fine. If it means something, I'll have an open ear. Yeah, and I agree with that. Innocent until proven guilty. Like, I think that really matters in the theology world. Like, let someone's words damn them. Not like some vague impression of what they said. Like, you shouldn't call Doug Wilson a heretic because you don't like him. All right. You call him a heretic because he actually denies justification by faith alone. That's why you call him a heretic. And you could back it up because there are specific statements as referenced by the Theocast video. But yeah, I get you. I probably should have said that. I've been more involved with the situation and I have my thoughts on it. That's totally fair, dude. If I had more information, I might have different thoughts, you know? You and your wife are a wonderful couple. Yeah, I agree. She's got a great husband, doesn't she? No, that sounded Trumpian, didn't it? A nice picture of the fam. It's not the whole fam, but it's there. Dean, what if Justin is aligning more with Lutheran theology? I would need specifics. I don't know. Are you meaning John? Like Justin is the other guy. But I would need more specifics than just being like, oh, they're kind of like this. All right. Here's the deal. I gotta give the kids their long-acting insulin. And then I shall return with shout of victory over mine enemies. It's something I've said for so long. I don't even know where that started. It sounds like something in a hymn. But I'm going to go and do that. We're going to take a short break. The video might run out of audio during the break, but that's okay. I shall return and we will talk about what else do I got? We've got we're going to talk about Dale Partridge. We're going to talk about the New Gospel Coalition. There's another new one. I know you thought the old new one was going to be the one, but that old new one doesn't exist anymore. And so this new one is going to be the one to be the new Gospel Coalition. So we're going to be talking about that in a little bit. All right, here we go. We're going to the timer. See you in a little. Okay. I know that felt very long for you, but that felt very short for me. I had to do 3 different shots, 2 different blood readings, and do that all in that short amount of time. So, all right. Your boys were very entertaining. Yeah, they loved doing that last time. Like, because I was just like, all right, I'm going to do your tests and stuff. So one at a time, you can go and like mess around in front of the camera if you want, because they love that kind of stuff. And then they were like, can we please do it again? I want to do it again. I was like, fine. Although Henry didn't want to do it. He was like, no, I don't need to today. So you didn't get much of him. I was expecting Silent Night since there's a Christmas tree in the room. When have I ever been silent? All right. My wife and I are watching on the big screen for the first time. Ooh, does it look crispy? Does it look crispy on? Are you watching me in 4K? You can't, because I only shoot in 1080. I love your boys. I love them too. They're pretty cool people. Not just funny, but who's Sweet Lolly? I don't know. I've never even heard that phrase before, but someone said it. I wish I could just like off the top of my head give them credit, but someone said it in the like a little test stream that I did before last time I did an actual stream. I did like a little test one talking about me coming back, and someone said, "Sweet Lolly, it's underdog." And I was like, that's so rad. I don't know what that means, but I'm going to use it. So I've been using it ever since. Yep, they are stinkers sometimes dance break, right? Yeah. I've read and heard a good amount of the Trinity, and even not as popular level stuff, but I don't think I've ever heard in a debate about whether Yahweh can only be used of the Father or not on. Yeah, it is a very particular thing. And it's weird. There's not a lot of like stuff to lean on and be like, oh, okay, this person has talked about it, this person explained it, or these people have talked about. What do you need? You do want to be on. You can say something.
I like Buzz Lightyear.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Anything else?
I'll collect the Buzz Lightyear toys.
Oh, the Buzz Lightyear toys? How many?
There might be 1,000.
1,000 Buzz Lightyears?
Yeah.
Are you going to put them on shelves
Yeah.
in your room that Daddy is going to make for you?
Yeah.
Is Woody allowed on the shelf?
Yeah.
Are Power Rangers allowed on the shelf? You want Power Rangers in your collection?
Yeah.
That's not true. You're just excited. I was for sure you were going to be like, no way. He's very much like it has to be. It has to be just Buzz Lightyear. All right. You guys need to go upstairs. You know it's bedtime. We've already said our good nights. Goodbye, children. I hope you survive until the morning. Okay. They're gone. Not 4K, just bigger. That's cool. I like being bigger. You know, it gives me more room, more elbow room up here on your TV, Mitchell. All right. That veiled in flesh, the Godhead see, hail incarnate deity triggers them. Maybe. Like him or not, James White has some helpful debates on the Trinity. 100%. Future me has some great stuff on the Trinity. People probably don't get that reference. All right, let's get back into talking about some content. What else do I want to talk about? Let's start here. We'll start with Owen Strachan talking about problematic statements on the Trinity. Let's talk about Owen Strachan. So this is something I saw today. Just a little something. We got another gospel coalition, but it's not the gospel coalition. It's a new thing. It's totally different. It's very different. Don't worry about it.
There is one gospel, and that's Owen. I'm John, and we have a massive announcement for you.
We're starting a new ministry called One Gospel, It's designed to supply the people of God with God's grace and God's truth. We're going to put out all sorts of articles, videos, podcasts, books, and more that are designed to lift the eyes of the people of God to our great God and strengthen us in the gospel.
And first up is a conference in Tennessee, April 30th to May 2nd, where the goal is to encourage God's people.
Check out the link in the description. We are so excited for this conference and this ministry. We'll see you there.
Ooh. We got some music. You're back again? What do you need? Okay.
Get in my room.
All right. Night night, buddy boy. So
The-
massive announcement, right? Massive announcement. The One Gospel Ministries is launching from John Benzinger, I think is how you say his name, and then Owen Strachan. Okay. It's about God's truth, God's grace and his truth. Why do we need all these things? All right. Let me look at the conference page. One Gospel, I will say, not as good a logo. All right, I know who's behind this, but not as good a logo as Costihen's ministry. But there's some freshness to this. I like the jams with it. I like some of the design elements going on here, and I love you, man. But there's some cool stuff going on here. But they're doing this conference. It says, "Lift up your eyes in a time of cultural confusion, spiritual weariness. We are calling God's people to look upward to Christ, to the gospel that unites and saves. At this first One Gospel conference, we will be refreshed in our hope, strengthened in our faith, and reminded of the eternal bond we share in Jesus." Sounds like the Gospel Coalition. Speakers. You got, some heavy hitters. You got Bruce Ware here. You got Jeremy Vuolo, who you can't see there, but that's this guy right here. You got Owen Strachan, Dean and Sarah from the SBC, Costihen, of course. You got Daryl Harrison from the Just Thinking podcast, co-host there. John Benzinger and Johnny Ardavanis. I probably butchered that. But this guy is becoming more and more of a deal. His dad has a big church, and I think he might have taken over. Maybe he's just an associate pastor there. No, it says lead pastor. But he has been talking a whole bunch in like the master's seminary world. And I think he even had like one of the last interviews with John MacArthur. What's going on here? This is the Gospel Coalition, but without the baggage of the wokeness, right? That's what it is. Is this a bad thing? No, I don't think so. Could it be helpful? Maybe. Here's the deal. I grow very tired of people who come out with a massive announcement. We are building this ministry. It's like, I'm going to talk about movies for a second, but it kind of reminds me of the DCU talking about, hey, we're going to have this movie and that movie and this movie and that movie, and you're going to love it all. And then it took forever to come out, and some of the movies disappeared. And then like people stopped talking about it, and then that universe is just gone. Or better yet, sometimes this thing kind of reminds me of the monster universe from Universal, because they have the rights to a lot of the classic monsters, and they're like, hey, we're going to build this thing. Remember The Mummy with Tom Cruise? You remember that movie? Not the good Mummy movie with Brendan Fraser, but the bad one with Tom Cruise and Nick from New Girl. Weirdly. But they were like, we're going to build a whole universe around monsters. We're going to have Jekyll and Hyde in it. We're going to do all this stuff. And they had like, even Vanity Fair took a picture of all these guys, and they're going to be the next, big universe and movies. And then The Mummy came out and it flopped, and then they never made another movie. It's just done because nobody cared. I grow a little bit tired of these organizations. I think of Clear Truth Media Think of, even some other people who are still around were trying to do that G3, trying to be like the next big thing, because T4G is gone and the Gospel Coalition, all their wokeness and stuff. Although that ship has really turned around. There's a lot of good stuff coming out from the Gospel Coalition lately. But they're too woke, and everyone remembers how they talked about masks and stuff in 2020, so we can't use them anymore. And so everyone wants to start their own thing. This kind of smells like that to me, of just like, how about you just put on a conference before you're just like, we're going to be this huge thing? How about you just start a conference, see how that goes, and then you kind of announce, hey, we're going to do stuff. Because right now, if you go to this page, they talk about it. There have been hints from them anyways, but you can see here, One Gospel was founded in 2025 by Owen Strachan and John Benzinger, which is something you don't need to put in this thing. Like, you just announced it. We just saw the video. What do you mean it was founded in 2025? You mean in the video you just had us watch? Like, what are you doing? With a simple mission to lift the church's gaze to Christ through articles, podcasts, videos, books, and new conferences. It's a little grandiose, don't you think? Of just being like, you know what? We are the next big thing, and we're going to have all the things. And I know they've collected like their own little version of, I'm going to move this around. That feels right. They've collected their own little Avengers team out there in Gilbert, Arizona. But it's a little odd to be like, we're the next big thing, especially when their stated goal is exactly the same thing as the Gospel Coalition. The Gospel Coalition was about the gospel. Now, the gospel being applied to different aspects of life, instead of Christ for all of life, it's the gospel for all of life. And so people got really mad about some of the ways that they applied it in recent years. But for a long time, that was their goal. This sounds just like that. You might as well say we're the new TGC at the very top, especially with the name One Gospel Conference. You could have come up with something else. Although you heard it, Owen Strachan, he likes this grace and truth thing. And so you could hear it. He's trying to sprinkle it in there. I think he was probably pushing for Grace and Truth Ministries, but he was just like, oh, I guess we're One Gospel. So that's the name. But could it be a good thing? Maybe. It's just, I don't like the kind of braggadocious nature of announcing we're doing all the things, even though you haven't done a thing yet. Do a thing, and then maybe at the conference, talk about how you're launching a website, not just we're starting this whole thing and then, whatever. So Owen is doing that, I guess. He's leading that at Gilbert, Arizona, in that church. That's kind of why they hired him, was to take over that whole thing. So I'd be curious to know what you guys think about that. Obviously, the gospel is good. If they're going to preach the gospel, okay. Just, I didn't we're coming out with all the things. And even calling it, anything with the gospel, I think you do have to kind of, talk about why you're different than anything else that might pop up. That is interesting. That is interesting. You got the Nick Fuentes article getting deleted. And then all of a sudden you look at this, Virgil is there in Gilbert, Arizona. He's on their staff now as a pastor of what? I have no idea, but he's pastoring there. But, he's writing, doing all the things, trying to get his name out there, using Nick Fuentes to do that, using Charlie Kirk to do that. And then the conference that is being started from his church, he's not talking at. His co-host is, but not him. Now, I don't know. Maybe there's he's maybe got a scheduling conflict or something like that. But it's just kind of weird. I was kind of I noticed that too. He's not, He's not there, huh? That's interesting. Yeah. Oh, look, the seventh reincarnation of TGC. Not that they believe in reincarnation. Um, yeah, maybe they'll have free ebook giveaways because I don't know. They haven't given us any yet. But I just thought it was interesting. So that's a thing to be aware of. I don't know. Will it be a thing in the future? I don't know. Definitely seems far less problematic than the Clear Truth Media thing. Like looking through this list, I mean, I'm gonna leave the co-hosts alone, but like I don't see any big problems with anybody here. Maybe not my first people to listen to, but I think they all preach the gospel. Not immediately concerned about allowing some influence from Christian nationalists or something like that. So I don't know, but I will say it is still an odd thing that you have Virgil Walker doing all what he's doing, and he's on staff there at John Benzinger's church, and then not on doing all this stuff. So kind of odd, but could be a good thing. Could be a good thing. If you like those guys, maybe you go to that conference and you're refreshed, and you're just a pastor wanting to be faithful, and you just want to hear about the gospel some more. Like, it's totally fine. And I do like the fact that they do have like families. Like they're not just aiming at pastors. They want to be for everybody. And I like it when conferences are like that. Because then even if it's going to be mostly pastors who go to a conference like that, and their congregations will pay for them. But like at the same time, it's still a casual environment. And it's not just like, I am here to learn, and here I brought my laptop and I'm taking notes, like no one's busting out their MacBook and, typing away. Instead, they're just listening. And I think that makes for a better experience for everybody. Because those dang phones, like technology, get it out of here. But yeah, I'm going to be on the rewatch crew. Hi all. What's up, RJ? Hope you're doing well. All right, we got one more thing to talk about. Guys. If you thought we were done talking about Dale Partridge, join the club. I thought we were done. What more can we say about this guy? He's a liar. He is a proven liar. He lied about his degrees. Everybody found that out. I don't want to say, I was the first one to start talking about it, but I was. And then no one wants to talk about how I was the first one. They want to talk about some other guy with a podcast who he was the first one because they just don't like me. But that's okay. Will that be one of my jewels when I get to heaven on my crown? I don't know. Is it a literal crown? Is it going to say Dale Partridge on it? I don't know. Okay. I hope I'm kidding. But, yeah. So more is going on. You guys remember how Dale, like all of a sudden started wearing a collar, and these in-ear headphones are kind of itchy. They make for better appearance than the big headphones, but they're kind of itchy. But what was I saying? Got me confused. I thought Tony was going to be talking about my microphone acting up. And I was like, what? Tony, is my microphone okay? Okay. But apparently, that whole thing about him being, going to the CREC, made a big deal about that, because he leapfrogged from house church to John MacArthur follower to following Owen Strachan, which is a whole thing unto itself that we'll talk about. And then where'd he go after that? Then Moscow, and with the CREC. And so he was trying to get in the CREC, but it's been like that for like a year and a half of him announcing that he's joining the CREC and putting it in everything and trying to this is how liars try to make themselves seem credible, is that they use other people's reputation to kind of get themselves out of the muck, like pull themselves up out of the mire to be like, no, I am credible and I got no dirt on me because this person is with me because I'm a part of this organization. And that's what he did. And he was trying to use the CREC. Turns out they're not having him be a member. Like they're not there. He's not being considered for CREC membership of his church. There was a post. A lot of this actually is now deleted. Michael Kloss, who's a pastor, I believe in Bothell, so good Washington boy. But I think he's in charge of some stuff. The Anselm Presbytery presiding minister, I guess, is what he is. But he talked about how actually this isn't true. He's not being considered. And then there was like a bunch of talk. Dale went back and forth with him. Some of those tweets are now gone. But basically, to summarize, Michael Kloss is saying that's not true. He's not joining the CREC, and that there was a unanimous vote of no, and then a secondary vote to send it back to the church for them to form a committee, like this one church who's sponsoring King's Way, which is Dale Partridge's church, to be a member of the CREC. They have to have a sponsor church. So this organization is like, no, we actually don't want him. And then someone actually said we would consider it if he wasn't their pastor, which is just like a big, like, oh, dang. But we'll consider it if he's not there. But right now, as it is, no. But we're going to send it back to the sponsor church for them to kind of deal with and say it. But that's already been in the past. And now Dale's been trying to be like, no, I am part of this. I'm part of the CREC for a while now. So just Dale cotton more lies. All right. We see you in the background, buddy.
Subscribe to my dad.
Subscribe to my dad.
Good night.
Good night, bud. But yeah, CREC, for anyone who doesn't know, that is Doug Wilson's denomination. That's what him and a bunch of other people, mostly out of the Federal Vision stuff, started their own thing. So just interesting. This guy who goes around likes to talk about himself, being like a big shot, and like, we already brought this up, this warrior on Twitter, who was kicked out of Owen Strand's. This is wild to me. This is one of those moments where I have a lot of issues with Owen Strand on things he said, and kind of he was Dale Partridge a long time ago, like not lying about his credentials, but doing a lot of the same stuff Dale did to get views. He was that back in the day, and he likes to act like that never happened. But those of us who were there and watching, like, because he was at Midwestern at the time, and it was like, is Midwestern okay with the way he talks online and how he goes at people? But apparently they were. So it's like Owen Strand is kind of problematic to me. But I do believe he's a Christian brother, and that he's preaching the gospel. But this kind of makes me respect Owen a little bit, because like he hasn't gone at Dale. Like he made one post about some things that Dale was trying to be like, this is why I left Owen Strand Seminary. And then like he made one post where he was kind of going at some of those things, but he did it in such like a polite way. And then Dale just continues to poke the bear. One of these days, like I know for a fact that stuff went down there. I have heard from people. So one of these days, Owen Strand is going to just like be like, all right, done. Like it is so bizarre to me that Dale like would keep poking Owen, even though like there's a bunch of history there, and that history could be brought to light. But he just continues to do it. So strange. Let me see. Is this something I need to see? Okay. My wife's sending me a movie review. But yeah, so he's just going at him for some reason. I don't know why. But that's all that I thought we needed to catch up on. Now is the time for you. What do you want to talk about? You guys want to talk about anything? What do you guys think? What do you guys think about all this stuff? Do you like this stuff? Do you not? Do you want to just call it a night? Do you want to just sit on the couch and do something? Watch something. What are you guys watching? You guys watching Stranger Things, trying to catch up before season 5? That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing with Heather. We're watching Stranger Things. Probably when she gets home in a little bit, we're going to watch some more Stranger Things, try to catch up, try to be done with it so we can be ready for season 5. That's where we're at. All right. Dean, should I do another 12 days of fundamentalist Christmas for you and the underdogs again, like I did a couple years ago? If you want, sure. It is a nice mic, very professional, isn't it? You know what it is? It is a Rode. Let me stick this over my face. It is just a Rode, like wireless micro, and you just put it on this, and all of a sudden, you're legit. That's how you do it. And then you just Velcro a sticker that you got from redbubble.com, and it's there. It's very professional. That's how we do it in Underdog Theology, or at least how we used to do it. Dale, when will he find his true self? I don't know. I always thought he would end up Catholic, but probably not, actually, now. Now it seems, I don't know, maybe he'll stay in where he's at. Miracle upon miracles, you know? Is Dale a grifter? Yes. Yes, he is. In a way, I think he is. Seems desperate to be included and have a lot of attention, but it continues to backfire for him. Exactly. Here's the deal. Everyone who has been involved with Dale Partridge later rejects Dale Partridge. Like, it's one thing. You go to one church and have a bad experience. That's one thing. And like, if people there talk bad about you, you know, not just like, oh, we disagree about something, but like they talk bad about you, like that's one experience. But when it's that experience and that experience and that experience and that experience, and you got like articles being written about how you're a bad neighbor because you just chopped down someone's tree randomly, and then like all this other stuff, and there's even stuff in the business world, like, dude's bad news, you know, like it's just over and over and over again. Scattered Sheep podcast did 3 good episodes rebuking Dale Partridge. Made me think of you. That's cool. I've never even heard of that one. I'm going to look it up later. But yeah, you know, if that's my claim to fame, is the guy who said, hey, that guy says he has degrees and I don't think he has degrees. I'll be happy with that. That's fine. You know, like it's not a lot, but it's something, I guess. As a woman, I'm going to vote even harder now. Take that, Dale. Oh, I'm going to vote in everything now. You thought I was just going to vote in presidential stuff? I'm going to vote in all of it. Thanks, Crusader. When you have a blue check on Twitter, the more interactions you have on your posts, the more money you can make from them. So it's pretty obvious now when people are engaged baiting. Yeah, but that's also been the tactic of these guys for growth, and it's worked. Dale, not so much. I'm curious. I'm not on it anymore, but like, let me go. Dale Partridge. How many followers? Okay, he's grown. He's grown actually quite a bit. But for a long time, he was sitting at 100K followers, 108 or something like that. And it's like, okay, he bought those, just FYI. Like he bought those, and, you know, one of the main tactics that he used early on was just using other people's stuff. Like he stole from other people, would take what they said and use it on his tweets. Just straight up take it and use it for himself. He did that a lot, and that's kind of how he grew. But he has grown to about 20,000 since like last time I like paid attention to it. But you know, like it works. It gets people. Like people start interacting, and the wackadoos go, "I like this guy. He has some good thoughts. He has the best words," something like that. Also, hello. I keep forgetting Dean is back. Everyone has forgotten about me. I leave for 3 months, and everyone's like, who is that guy? He doesn't even have a beard. Have you ever watched any of Pastor Matthew Everhard's stuff? It's great. Yeah. He seems fine. You know, nerdy about Jonathan Edwards. It's kind of fun. Um, you know, a lot of the stuff that he says is fine. I don't like his associations, but you know, I'm a Baptist at heart, so I'm always going to have issues with that. But he like hangs out. I think he's pretty chum with the Moscow crew, so that's problematic to me. Um, but you know, if other people like him, they like him. You know, not my cup of tea. Not the kind of content that I would want to watch for myself, and not someone who I'd say I recommend this person. You know, but if you like him, you like him. That's cool. Wait, who chopped down someone's tree? I think that was wasn't that Washington? Did he chop down a tree or something? I don't know. Then he lied about it or something. What are your thoughts on Todd Friel now? I see his ministry tweet once in a while to stay relevant. Once in a while to stay relevant. I have no idea what's going on with that guy. I think I watched what he said about John MacArthur, and then that's like the last time that I looked at anything from him. That's a thing, guys. Name changes really hurt. Like you could lose a lot of momentum, like because people don't know Todd Friel's name. They know Wretched, and then he went with Fortis Institute and like that big change to what they were doing, and I think it really hurt them as an organization, not just like theologically. I'm just talking about like marketing and as an organization. So I haven't seen anything from him. So it's just weird. Yeah, but I never forgot about you, Dean. Liar. Liar! You said that you would destroy the Sith, not join him. Okay. I found out that Paul Washer might become a 1689 Federalist. He's been hanging out with the CBTS guys. Oh, ooh, what kind of rooms are you in now, Mitchell? You preaching, then you're hanging out with people, and they're like, hey, we know everything's going on. Mitchell is an insider now. Hook me up. I'm just kidding. I did not forgore. I did not Trogdor. Was a man. He was a dragon man. Okay. Everhard put out a video against Moscow Gang and Ogden Boys a while back. Well, that's cool. I didn't see it. I saw that he was at Fight Laugh Feast, and then he does a lot of stuff with what he calls himself some version of Doug Wilson. The guy who does like the denomination meetings, that guy, Keith Foskey. I see that he's done some stuff with him, but that was months ago. I don't know, but he seems fine, I guess. I don't know, man. Like it takes like a pretty good communicator for me to be like interested in, like, I wouldn't watch my own stuff, to be honest. Like, yeah, I don't know. What's up, William? Was hoping you were going to make videos again. Glad you said something about the Theocast statement. Yeah, I appreciate that. You know, like, I don't know if it was cohesive because it's a very complicated thing. And, you know, I don't know a whole lot about what was actually said, and nothing was really presented. So I knew that some people would want me to talk about it because I have been like, Theocast is cool. And Theocast is cool. Like, again, I don't know Justin, but from the podcast, he seems great. It's just I don't like the statement that he put out. Just as a statement. Like, I don't know if the stuff is true or not. Like, so like you gotta come with the facts if you're gonna drop something like that. Especially when we're talking about like someone who's in this world, you know? Like, it's not like someone from you're saying that guy over there, like you're saying it's your bro. Like you guys are co-hosts. Like if I had a co-host, which would probably be Pam at this point, or maybe Heidi, I don't know, one of you guys, like if they were a co-host and like they said something, like I would need to come with a huge list of things, you know? Of like, this is what they said, and this is why I'm coming out and saying this. Otherwise, just resign and quiet, you know? Like if you don't have, like if you just don't like what someone is saying, but like you don't call him a heretic on your way out without having, here's the listed out things why. And maybe he does have that, but you need to announce that. If you're going out and announcing this guy is a heretic, then you got to say what it is. You just got to say it. You can't just be like, he's a heretic, and maybe someday I'll tell you why, like, or you go find out why. Like, no, then just say I'm resigning and I'm not a part of this podcast anymore. I don't, you guys know how I am. Like, as much as I'm like, hey, some of these guys deserve to be canceled, I don't like the idea of cancel culture. Like, someone shouldn't be listened to, like, mark and avoid, but don't cancel, I guess is basically what I'm saying. We mark and avoid on this podcast, although I don't use that terminology all the time. But like, we don't just cancel somebody because someone doesn't like them or some rumor came out about them. You got to have like, this is the thing. This is what happened. But I don't know. I'm old school. Get off my lawn. Hey, Dean, it's bedtime for me, but I am looking forward to watching this later. But it's bedtime. You got to go to sleep. You got to go to sleep right now. You can't watch it later. You can watch it tomorrow. It'll be here tomorrow. Maybe. Okay. May I ask your thoughts on the third way debate? Bob the Baptist did a video on Tim Keller's ideas, and I wondered if you had thoughts on it. Don't get me in trouble with Bob. Let's see what you're doing, Pam. Yeah, I watched it. I don't agree. I think that there's a real problem going on right now. I'm not saying it's Bob. I'm saying it's a lot of people, specifically young people. We're getting caught up in emotion. We're getting caught up in emotion and anger and fear. And I think it's radicalizing people without thinking that they're being radicalized. I don't think that's not what I want to be careful. Like, I like Bob the Baptist quite a bit. I've talked about his stuff a lot. I pushed his stuff. Some of you watch because I sent you over there. I like him. I like his content. When he makes videos, I watch it. Maybe not right away. Also, why, Bob, if you're watching, why do you drop him at 4 a.m.? No, that's not how you drop videos, Bob. You wait until your audience is at least awake, and then you drop the videos. But I like Bob the Baptist quite a bit. But I do have differences with him, and I'm sure he would say he has differences with this podcast. I don't know, what am I now? This channel. But I think that he's a good guy. I like a lot of the stuff, but I disagree with him about this third way stuff. These guys didn't come up with it. Tim Keller wasn't trying to create a third way. His way is the same way, is what he was saying. It's the same way. It's just not the Republican way. It's not the Democrat way. It's the way of Jesus. And everyone was like, that's a third one. And it's like, actually, it was the first. But this idea of political theology, that's a made-up term. That's a made-up term. You have theology and you have politics. You don't have a political theology. I don't agree. But Gavin Ortlund is fine. What he's doing with, like, they want to put it into categories of like, oh, it's about, LGBTQ stuff. It's, that's where it goes. It's like, Tim Keller didn't. If you're talking about Tim Keller and that's what third wayism is, well, he wasn't that way. He was a conservative all across the board. Like, now when it comes to politics, like literal politics, we're not talking about morality. We're not talking about things that the Bible talks about. We're talking about like immigration. We're talking about other things. Like, then maybe there's like some democratic views of Tim Keller. But as far as morality, like, it's not about being Republican. It's about being biblical. And Tim Keller was biblical. Now you could debate, like, there's other things. It's not like Tim Keller was right about everything. I think he had some weird views about evolution and stuff. But this third way debate, I think it's just like people being tired of wishy-washy people and just trying to nail them down and say, no, it's this. You're either this or you're this. And if you aren't either of those, then you got to be this one. And it's this other thing, and we don't like this other thing. So just be over here. I think that's happening a lot. And I think a lot of content creators are falling into the trap of being radicalized by Charlie Kirk, even without realizing it, and being emotional, being upset, and trying and it's a passion that they want to do something. They want to make something. They want to make a statement. And I think that's why Gavin Ortland gets hounded so much. Gavin Ortland's pretty vanilla, guys. He's the most vanilla dude on the planet. And he's just every day he's getting hounded because he said something. And it's guy, he's so nuanced with everything. It's hard to even understand if he's being firm about anything. and you guys are get him. So yeah. So, I don't think it was a terrible video or anything that Bob put out. I don't mean to disparage him at all. I like him a lot, like I said, but I disagree. And, I don't think he would be surprised at me disagreeing about that. You know, I don't know. But that's the thing. You make public things, people talk about it. I agree. The burden of finding evidence shouldn't be on the public. I dream of Deanie. What? What is that? My wife texted me again. Stopping at Superstore quick. You know what that means? That means, do you want anything? Heck yeah, I want something. Just wait. Oh, wait. When we actually need something. Okay. Don't be weird. Don't be weird, Tim. What are you doing? My take on the third way stuff. I don't know what way I am anymore. Who does, right? It's too complicated. Who knows what's going on? It's the way of Jesus. Amen. I mean, that's the way I've viewed it. But the term I think you're looking for is conservative Democrats, which are my favorite type. No. That's the thing. Stop putting people into boxes, everybody. I would say, I'm not in the States. But I'll just use Canada as an example, which I know everyone's Canada? You mean the place where hippies ride moose everywhere and get milk out of a bag? And all they want to do is destroy America. I don't know, whatever. You guys are America. Everyone's looking and being what the heck? Okay. So there's that. More of just confusion. What is going on? But I like the way that Canada has it set up. Because you got conservatives, you got liberals, and then there's NDP. There's a bunch of different ones. It's not just a two-party system. So there's some nuance. And sure, you go liberal, there's a lot that comes with it. Liberal means actual liberal. Conservative doesn't necessarily mean conservative these days. But there's a lot of nuance in different places to place your vote. And down there, it's a two-party system. It really is, even though it shouldn't be, but it is. And you try to put people into boxes and be are you this or this? I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't I love definitions for theological preferences, beliefs, but as far as being a person, I don't like it. I don't need someone to define me as, if he was in the States, he'd be a Republican. No, I wouldn't. If he was in the States, he'd be a Democrat. No, I wouldn't. If he was in the States, he'd be, even a conservative Democrat. No, I wouldn't. You don't know what I'd be. And I don't have to choose. You could vote based off of what you believe and not have to fit into a party. And some people would be that's just so, that's so naive. That's naive because at the end of the day, it really just depends on where you place your vote. And that's the party that you're in. All right, if that's the way you want to play it. But for me, that's my conscience. I'm going to follow my conscience. You follow your conscience, and I'll follow mine. And I think we could all be okay with each other about that. But yeah. And I mean, if that means you want to put me as a conservative Democrat, sure. Just don't say it to me. Because I'll come back with that. Weird how an infinite God can't be put in a man-made black or white box, huh? Said the liberal. Okay. Canada is great. My wife is from there, and Five Iron Frenzy made a song about it. Welcome to Canada. It's a really cool. Canada, Canada, it's great. Okay. Amen to not putting people into boxes is so grained to us. Yep. If Dean was in the States, he would be Dean. Correct. I mean, in the past, I probably would be like, yeah, I'm a Republican. Yeah. Yeah, I would. And I would sound like that. But today, no. And I could tell you one thing for sure. I'm not a Democrat either. Like, I believe in the sanctity of life more than anybody. Like, I really do. But that's not all it is. But people want to say that's all it is. Also, I like courage and not caving to certain people. And it seems like some Republicans don't remember what that is. Oh, he got political. Oh, gross. I don't like him no more. Unsubscribe. Okay. I'm pretty sure they addressed bagged milk in Augsburg Confession. It's true. Heresy. Beneath the man, you find his nucleus. Okay. Yeah. Just to clarify, wasn't talking about you, Dean. Oh, okay. Well, then I went off all on that for nothing. I don't know. I don't know how to read. I watch movies. You guys see that? This is what I do now. I used to read books, and now I just go to ChatGPT for it. I'm just kidding. I go to ChatGPT for descriptions for my movie reactions, and that's it. That's a grand total of what I've used ChatGPT for. Dean would definitely be the Whig Party. I got her. I got some her. I got some her. I'm going to give you a grand total of 2 more minutes. Ask me your strangest question. I want the strangest. There's a 17-second delay, but I want your strangest question you could think of in this moment. What is the strangest, weirdest thing that you could ask right now? All right. Just ask it. And I'll answer it. I'll answer all of them. Every single one that you ask in the next 2.5 minutes. And if you don't put anything, then I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to sit here for 2.5 minutes, stare at you directly into the camera. Do you want that? It's going to be awkward. So it's up to you. How dare you? That's something that someone said sometime, I think. Her? Who? Which one? Who are we talking about? No one's asking anything yet. This delay. Did Samson live by faith? I don't know who Samson is. Who's Samson? Samson, I don't know, but that's a bad name. No one that's not. No, Samson. Do you like Mark Driscoll? Yes. I've been playing this whole time. All right, I'm sorry, guys. I pulled a Dale Partridge. This whole time me and Mark are best friends. No, I don't. I think he is a wolf. I think he's hurt a lot of people. I think he continues to hurt people. I think he will take anything to use as rocket fuel to gain more followers. He's a bad guy in my book. What's the best U.S. state and why is it Minnesota? It is not Minnesota. Minnesota's good, but you got your winter. The best state is, of course, the one I got frickin' tattooed to my arm. I love the state of Washington. It is my home sweet home. And I just love it. It's the best. It's got the best views. You can look this way, got mountains. Got this way, ocean. Like, come on. Where else can you do that? Where else can you do that? It's beautiful. You got everything you could ever want there, except for it's too expensive to live there. And the Sonics aren't there anymore. So those are two problems. But everything else is pretty dang perfect. So that's my favorite. Is Nick Fuentes a Fed? I don't know what that means. What does that even mean? What is a Fed? I have no idea. I don't. English has gone out the window, and we live in the internet world. Why butter tarts? That's a good question. Why butter tarts? Why? Who butter tarts? Someday we'll know why Samsung loved Delilah. Like, we're just going to read that as everything now. I will find out who Samson is. All right, good. Get to the bottom of it and you come and tell me. Because I don't know. I don't know who that guy is. But Samson wasn't a good guy. I don't think he was a good guy. He had one good moment. But I was just kidding, by the way. I knew what your thoughts are on it. That's fine. I like to kid around. I do. Guys, this is it. This is the end for me. If you don't see for me, I can't do those jokes anymore. Sorry. You guys are like, you can't do that anymore. I'm going to go. I'm going to put this table away. Yes, I have a table here in my living room. I brought down a table and set it up for the stream. I got the TV right here. MacBook here. I kind of like the setup, actually. I kind of like this. Maybe I'll do this for reactions. This is kind of fun. This is fun. Maybe. I don't know. Washington State, best state confirmed. What would the name of your indie jazz rap group be? I don't know. I had a band back in the day. We were Speedo Kick Dive. So there you go. If you want to know anything about me, there's a lot there that you could probably get. Speedo Kick Dive. Okay. I will see you guys in the future where maybe we talk about something fun. Maybe we will. Maybe we'll do a chill stream in a couple days. I don't know. A lot could happen. Notifications, turn them on. Subscriptions, maybe if you want to. If you like this so far, I don't know why you wouldn't want to subscribe. Maybe you want me to like butcher the Trinity again. I don't know. Do something like that. I'll probably do it at some point in the future. Anyways, I will see you guys. Bye. Have a good night. Thanks for hanging out with me. Christian nationalism's dirty secret is that they're addicted to power. That's it. There's no Jesus. It's just power. That's what they want. Okay, bye.